Imagine yourself driving down the street, like you always do. Maybe it's to work, or it's to school, or it's to wherever, and all of a sudden you hear doo-doo-doo-doo, which is your mom's ringtone, so you know your mom's calling. Now, ask yourself this question honestly. Do you pick up the phone? Do you think, oh, it's no big deal, I've done it before, I can do it again? Today I'm going to talk about the topic that we've all heard of, distracted driving, and it's something that we are all probably guilty of. Distracted driving is a huge and serious issue. I had the pleasure of being this year's philanthropy chair for Phi Sigma Pi, and our main philanthropy is the end of distracted driving. So I am confident in the solutions that I'm going to present to you today. I will be presenting to you the problem about distracted driving, the solutions that we can all participate in, and what will happen if we don't work together to make a change. So, what is the problem at hand? The problem we are all facing is very substantial. The issue with distracted driving is the lack of knowledge, the high number of casualties, and the impact it has on society. The lack of knowledge on distracted driving is a huge part of the issue. The assumption that it's no big deal, I've done it before, I've done it again, is part of the problem. Well, what exactly is distracted driving? According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, published in 2009, distracted driving is any activity that can divert a person's attention from the primary task of driving. It's not just texting or making cell phone calls. Any activity that diverts a driver's attention puts that driver, their passengers, and everyone else sharing the road at serious risk. We all probably know texting and driving is one of them, but messing with the stereo, or putting a CD in, or all these other things are distracted driving. According to distracting.gov, published in 2004, Aaron Insurance Distracted Driving Survey reported that drivers do all sorts of dangerous things behind the wheel, including brushing their teeth and changing their clothes. I don't think we're that bad, but the idea that people are actually doing this is pretty scary. Now that we've talked about distracted driving, let's talk about why it's important. The high number of casualties is part of the issue here. According to the End of Distracted Driving, published in 2014, says that in 2014, 3,197 people were killed and 431,000 were injured in motor vehicle crashes involving a distracted driver. I bet everyone here has been influenced in some way by a distracted driver. Either your parents text and drive, or you've seen your sister do it, or your friends do it. Everyone's affected, maybe not as extreme as some people. If you guys didn't know, actually there's been about 9 people on Westchester campus that has been hit this year, one of which was one of my friends crossing the street over on High Street. An older lady crashed right into her. She was rushed to the hospital, broken ribs, everything. It's a scary thing, and it's really important that people are aware about this issue. Distracted driving is obviously very important, and it's a huge issue. Many organizations try to put an end to this, and its very impact on society. As I said, another problem is the high impact in society. The Casey Feldman Foundation and the End of Distracted Driving are just two of the many organizations aimed to end distracted driving. As a philanthropy chair, I was in contact with Mr. Feldman, who is right here, and his daughter Casey Feldman, who he talks about all the time, who passed away not too long ago. Right around the age that we are today, which is pretty sad. She was crossing the crosswalk and was hit and killed by a distracted driver. It has a huge impact on society because most people don't know what it is and that it can be so many things. Distracted driving, again, can be a lot of different things. Published by NDD.org in 2004, there are 3 main types of distracted driving. Visual, taking your eyes off the road, like reaching for something in the back. Manual, taking your hands off the wheel, messing with your GPS. Or cognitive, taking your mind off driving, which can be something as simple as thinking about the day ahead of you or the directions that you're going. People don't realize that all 3 of these things are distracted driving. Now, we have discussed the issue of distracted driving. Let's talk about some solutions. There are 2 major solutions that I'm going to present to you that can help this issue. First is awareness, and second is speaking up. Awareness in society is key in order for change to happen. The issue here is that drinking and driving and texting and driving, when we hear about those things, we know, oh yeah, that's bad. We know it's bad because it has this negative connotation embedded in society. We were raised and it was pushed down our throats since we were little kids, and we know that's bad. But not so much with distracted driving. We never got that. Awareness, people don't know that it's just as bad as those things, maybe even, but the problem is it doesn't have that negative connotation yet, and it needs to. And the way to get that negative connotation is by awareness. The second one, according to the distracteddriving.gov, the U.S. official website for distracted driving, published in 2004, they state that 5 seconds is the average time your eyes are off the road while texting. When traveling 55 miles per hour, that's enough time to cover the length of a football field blindfolded. I don't know if any of you have been on a football field before, but that's a lot of distance. And to be driving that in a motor vehicle, practically blindfolded, that's a lot of opportunities for something to go wrong. And I believe that if people actually knew these facts and how dangerous it is, they probably wouldn't be doing it. Speaking up is just one way that our generation can help with this issue. Our generation can be advocates for the end of distracted driving by simply saying something. When you're sitting in the car with your friends or your parents or whoever, and you see them, texting, say, hey, I'll text them for you. Or Justin Bieber comes on, they hate that. Change the radio station for them before they do it. Or if they go to do it, say, hey, no, you mind if I do that? Little things like this can go a long way because just one person can make a huge difference. Well, we've discussed some of the issues at hand. What are some possible drawbacks or things that people might say against these solutions? Well, change is hard. We all know change is hard. We all know that drinking and driving is bad, and distracted driving should be bad too, obviously. But we were able to change for that, and we should be able to change for this. We are also used to driving down the street with our Starbucks cup in our hand, getting ready for work, and that's going to be hard to change. But if people, again, knew how serious this issue was, they wouldn't be doing it. Also, speaking up is hard. Maybe not so much with your parents who you know really well or your best friends, but if you're going on a first date with some guy, I'm pretty sure you're not going to be like, hey, don't do that in driving. You don't want to become that controlling person. All in all, speaking up to your peers is a lot harder than people realize, and in those situations, you might be scared or uncomfortable to do so. But when you realize that your life and their lives are in their hands, they would understand that you're trying to make a difference and you're trying to protect everybody in that car. Let's take a moment to imagine the best and the worst case scenarios surrounding this issue. Imagine a world of chaos, like such. People would be crashing all the time if everyone was distracted while driving. In society, there would be no trust. Think about it. If you're walking down the street, your friend pulls up to you and goes, hey, let's go to Wawa. You're going to say no, I'm not getting into that car with you, because they're going to do something while they're driving. Their main focus is not going to be on driving. So there's a high likelihood that they will crash and that you will get hurt. Well, the best case scenario is people don't drive distractedly, they just drive when they're driving, and that can lead to a lot less injuries, a lot less crashes, and overall, driving itself would be a lot less scary. In conclusion, we have discussed what distracted driving is, why it is important, and what solutions need to be done in order for change to happen. Distracted driving is a huge and serious issue. It takes one person to make a huge difference. We've talked about the best and the worst case scenarios, so let's talk about what you can do to make change happen. I now ask you to do your part by driving responsibly and speaking up. You can sign the pledge on ndd.org's website. And just to show you specifically how many people are taking this pledge and how many people are trying to make a difference, I want to show you guys this quick ending of a video that I created for Phi Sigma Pi about distracted driving. It has a bunch of information of why people are taking this pledge and a bunch of people saying I pledge because they themselves pledged to end distracted driving, and I hope you will too.
I pledge to drive responsibly and do my part by speaking up.
I pledge because I care about my life and the lives around me.
I pledge because protecting lives is something I can do.
I pledge because I want to lead by example.
I pledge because together we can make a change.
I pledge because most people don't understand this is an issue.
I pledge because I am a role model.
I pledge because I don't want to put anyone else in danger.
I pledge because I can make a difference. I pledge.
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 I pledge.